Good evening. The idea of Mashiach is one of the 13 principles of our faith. It's one of the Yud Gimel Ikrim. And one of the Animamins, that is the most popular of the Animamins, which a Jew says that I believe. The most popular one is Animamin B'Emunah Shlema B'Yas HaMashiach. The Mashiach is going to come. Yet, although this is, so to say, a universal belief by all Jews, but by Chasidus, this was emphasized more than even before. And there's a reason for that. The Baal Shem Tov, in a letter that he wrote, he writes that on one Rosh Hashanah, he had Aliyas HaNeshama. His Neshama ascended up on high. We know that great tzaddikim, especially in the caliber of the Baal Shem Tov, who was the Rebbe of all Rebbes, they have the power of going up in the heavens to see what's going on. And he came to the Heichal of Mashiach. He came to the chamber of Mashiach. In the heavens, there are chambers. And the great Chachomim have their chambers. And there's a chamber of the Mashiach. And he asks Mashiach, Ei Mosai Kol Simar. It's a simultaneous expression in the Gemara. When is our master coming? When, Mashiach, are you coming? And the Gemara, the answer is, Hayoim, today, which meant, today he'll come if the Jews will do the right thing. But the Mashiach, to Mashem, the Mashiach answered, when your well springs, when your teachings, when the teachings of Chasidus will spread forth outside and spread out, that's when Mashiach will come. We are told that when the Baal Shem Tov heard that, he cried, because he understood it would take a long time. Especially that during the time of the Baal Shem Tov, the opposition to Chasidus already started. They were the Misnagdim. And would become even worse after the passing of the Baal Shem Tov. And in general, the world evolved or devolved and turned and twisted into where we're up to today. So therefore, the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov are still not spread out apparently sufficiently for Mashiach to come, and we're still waiting for Mashiach. The Rebbe, our Rebbe, took this Mashiach idea to a whole new different level. And that was the idea behind why the Rebbe sent shluchim all over the world, to spread Chasidus and the teaching of Chasidus. So that's what we're doing here today, learning Chasidus from work of the Rebbe and Yonash Alteres Chasidus. That is because the Rebbe emphasized literally, since the coming of Mashiach is dependent, as if, to spreading the teachings of Mashiach even more, so therefore Chasidus has to be translated in all languages. And they have to be shluchim in all corners of the world, wherever there's a Jew. They should learn, not only they should learn Torah and Halacha and do Torah and mitzvahs, which already the Rambam says that you didn't have to do tshuva before Mashiach comes, but also to have that fire of Chasidus in them. That is really the impetus and the rest of the story behind, so to say, the Rebbe's Mashiach campaign. In fact, in the year Tafshin Nun Beis, the last year before the Rebbe took Hill, he verbringed every Shabbos and every Parsha and every Yontiv, he found the Mashiach connection. Parsha Vayechid, there's a Mashiach connection. Every mitzvah, Mashiach connection. And he said that we should tie everything to bring Mashiach, because he said our generation is the generation of Mashiach. And that was the passion and the fire why Chabad was so into Mashiach, is because this is really, because it starts really from the time of the Baal Shem Tov, some 300 years ago, that the teachings of Chasidus is going to light the fire that's going to be the fire that's going to, of Mashiach. And that brings us to the 4th chapter of Kuntres Inyana Shel Teres Chasidus, where he explains in this work, he explains what is the essence of Chasidus. So to understand that, he goes into Mashiach. Because since, like the Baal Shem Tov taught us, that the idea of Mashiach is connected to the spreading of the teachings of Chasidus, so therefore, if we'll understand Chasidus, we'll understand the way it's by Mashiach, or what the Chazal, what our sages said about Mashiach, will give us an understanding of Chasidus as well. So let's start. Be'er Muhusa Shel Teres Chasidus, to explain the essence of Chasidus, Yuvar al Yidei Bir Toichne Apnimi Shel Mashiach, we'll appreciate this by an understanding of what is the inner meaning of the coming of Mashiach. Ki mischara shel mitzvah neida Muhusa. From the reward of the mitzvah, our sages teach us, you know the essence of the mitzvah. So if Hashem rewards us a certain reward for a particular mitzvah, you understand already how this mitzvah is connected, what the theme of the mitzvah is. So the Rebbe says, let's elaborate about what Mashiach is about. And he's going to go into details of what will be the so-called Mashiach experience that we're all so eagerly waiting for. And when we'll understand the Mashiach experience, which is the outcome, which is going to be brought about also through Chasidus. So if Chasidus is one of the causes for the coming of Mashiach, so then if we understand Mashiach, we'll understand how Chasidus. We'll better understand Chasidus, because one is a reflection of the other, one is an outcome of the other. And now he's going to touch on 3 points that has to do with Mashiach. There are so many chapters in the Nevi'im, in the prophets, that they talk about Mashiach. What's going to happen when Mashiach is going to come. Descriptions of fantastic times, miraculous times. And then this discussion continues in the Gemara. What's the world going to look like when Mashiach comes? The prophets speak about V'gor ze'evim keves, that the lamb is going to live in peace with the wolf. The swords are going to be turned into plowshares. It's hanging on the walls of the United Nations. The wall, what's called the Isaiah Wall, named after Yeshaya the prophet. And as a kid, we went to see the United Nations. I remember they showed us, you see, this is the Jewish prophet Isaiah Wall, Yeshaya. If only in the United Nations would actually have been realized and implemented this prophecy of Yeshaya. So it talks about different times that even the Goyim and universally understood, yes, there's this Jewish vision of a better world, a world of peace and so on. But yet we see descriptions of times which are not natural. And then the Gemara takes us a step further. There's going to be bounty, there's going to be plenty. Breads will be growing naturally. You'll be able to eat bread growing from a tree or from a plant. What does that mean? To be taken literally, not to be taken literally. We're going to fly to the Holy Land on eagles. Is literally, not literally. And there's fantastic promises of what exactly the world going to be like. So the Rebbe breaks this down into 3 points. And these 3 points we're going to focus on now. And as I said, as he introduced this, understanding Mashiach will give us a better understanding of Chasidus. And understanding Chasidus will give us a better understanding of what Mashiach's times are about. So he says, "V'bias Mashiach yischatshchu kama v'kama inyonim nailim." when Mashiach comes, with the coming of Mashiach, there's going to be a new order. Yischatshu, it's going to be new times. Times that weren't before. And awesome things, Nyonim Nailim, sublime ideas and times will happen. And he lists three. Ukamoy, for example. One, Gulas Yisrael Vashchinim HaGolos. The end of Golos. We are now in Golos. Golos means that we are under we're under a Goyish world, Goyish influence. We are not totally free. So that's what Golos is. and Golos means going back to the Holy Land. We will be able to live in the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael, in total freedom. That's the redemption, the Geula. We speak of Mashiach is going to come, all troubles land. The end of troubles is one part of Mashiach. There's Gadol, Golos, which is troubled times. And the end of the troubled times, the Gulas Yisrael. Yidden are not going to have any troubles. There won't be any threats. And there will be peace. So that's the first thing. In parentheses, he says, Gulas HaShekhinah. There's also the redemption of the Shekinah. The Shekinah is Hashem's presence in this world. And this goes into a whole discussion. Hashem's presence in this world should be reflected in a better world. And if the world is cruel and ugly, then the world doesn't reflect the presence of Hashem. And that's because Hashem is also in Golos. It's a concept in the Gemara that when the Yidden are in Golos, when the Yidden are, so to say, not able to express themselves completely, not spiritually and not physically, it is a reflection of Hashem holding himself back. As if Hashem is also, so to say, not free to express himself. Because Hashem did tie his own, as if Kaviyochel Hashem tied himself to the destiny of the Jewish people. And when the Jewish people are not worthy, or not on that level of Mashiach, and they are even suffering, then Hashem, since he tied himself to the destiny of the Jewish people, so therefore Hashem himself is also even in pain and suffering, so to say, and sharing the suffering of the Jewish people. So all of this will end. So number one is Geula, redemption, freedom from oppression, freedom from all types of cruelty and negativity, removing all the bad stuff. Then he goes, L'mayla mizeh, higher than that. You Yisrael chachom g'dolim v'yoydim dvorim hastumim v'yasigu das boidim mola aretz deyes havayechulu. A higher level than that, he quotes a line from the Rambam, where the Rambam says the real story about Mashiach is the level of understanding that man will have. That man will understand Hashem. Man will understand hidden things. Some explain this to me. We will understand history. We will understand why the good people suffer. We'll look at the whole world like Eve understood in the book of Eve. At the end of the story, in the book of Eve, the last chapters in the book of Eve, Hashem reveals himself, and all of Eve talks about the questions upon questions upon questions that Eve had. Why he's suffering, and why suffering going on in the world, and why the righteous suffer, etc., etc., etc. And then at the end, he had no more questions. And a higher level than that will be in the level of Mashiach, because the world will be filled of godly knowledge. And when man is going to have godly knowledge, he's going to see things differently. So what is the highest human quality? Intelligence. So now our intelligence is, we know how to make watches, we make smartphones, we know how to know what's going on in the galaxies and light years away. We see a lot of stuff. Small stuff, a drop of blood, what's going on in the body, what's going on out of space. So we're smart. This is incomparable to the new levels of intelligence, not only in the sciences, but in the spiritual dimensions that are beyond our grasp today. Deus Hashem, godly knowledge. So our minds is going to open up. So the human experience is going to be a total different quality of experience. So that's number two. Now I just want to make the contrast. Number one is redemption from gullus, redemption from oppression, redemption from exile. Bad. You're getting rid of that. And now what? There's people, nations, who become free, and they don't know what to do with their freedom. They're running around and making trouble, right? Some people become free. In history, look at history. People or nations, they got freedom. What do they do with their freedom? Total anarchy. So, okay, Jews appreciate it. We have a Torah, we study, we have morals, so we understand freedom is not just being freedom of shackles, and now what are you going to do with your life? You're going to run around and get drunk? What are you going to do with it? So we understand there's another purpose. But now putting this in the story of Mashiach. So first of all, there's the redemption from all evil and illness and troubles and sorrows and so on. And now he's saying man will come to human perfection by his highest quality, grasping and understanding things that are totally beyond the present understanding of things. That's number two. Then the Rebbe goes on further. A higher accomplishment of that during Mashiach's times will be, there will be change in the natural order. Nature will change. And this brings us to a debate that has been going on for thousands of years. When Mashiach comes, will human nature change? Will the nature of animals change? Will the nature of the physical world change? And this is an old debate. And it starts really in the words of Yeshaya. When Yeshaya said that we mentioned before that the lamb will live in peace with the wolf, doesn't mean literally that the nature of the wolf will change. That when a wolf will see a lamb, it will not eat the lamb for dinner. Does that mean that the nature of the wolf will change? Or he speaks about the bear and a child being in the company of wild animals. Will the nature of wild animals change? Is it a change in the physical nature of the world? So the Rambam's opinion was that no. The Rambam says we can understand the text of Yeshaya that is a metaphor. It means that the nations of the world, humanity, will live in peace. And therefore, the aggressive nations, who are symbolized by the wolf, will be in peace with the more peaceful nations, who are symbolized by the lamb. That he says you don't have to understand it literally. He didn't insist on this, but he says the way he understands it is not necessarily literally. That it doesn't mean that the nature of the world would change. And this goes with the opinion already in the Gemara. In the Gemara, there's already an opinion that says that the difference between the world, the way it will look when Mashiach comes and before, is mainly peace. There's going to be world peace. Shibud Malchus. That nations will not oppress other nations, will not control other nations, and consequently the Jews will have their freedom to go back in Eretz Yisrael. There will be no danger in the world. The idea of world peace, this vision of world peace. Shmuel, one of the Amoraim, said that. And that is that's what the Rambam's approach was. But then there were Rishonim, the Ravid, and the Kabbalah went with the other direction. They said, no. When the prophet Yeshaya said that the wolf is going to be together with the lamb, he meant literally that you can take a lamb and put it next to a wolf. The nature of the wolf will change. There will be no aggressiveness. And therefore the wolf will not kill. Because the nature of the world, human nature will change, animal nature will change, and the nature of the physical world will change. So this was a debate. Now the Rebbe over here says that there will be, he takes the opinion that there will be a change, shinui v'chidush b'ma'aseh bereishis, in the natural order of the creation, that was from creation, sunrise, sunset. There are wolves that hunt to eat and kill, and there are lambs that are passive. This will change. The order that was from creation, the natural order will change. The Rebbe goes with that view. And in a footnote here, you'll have it in a footnote 36, he goes into this whole discussion, and it says that there will be no jealousy. No yakina, won't be jealousy. He goes into the human psychology. So what does it mean there won't be jealousy? So the Rambam says, because there's going to be so much plenty. But still, even if there's plenty, but to say human nature will not change is very hard. So the Rebbe says something interesting. He says, to make peace between this debate, the Rebbe has an interesting approach. This debate, as I said, is a debate between Talmudic scholars and Torah scholars of the Rishonim, the early scholars, the Rambam's times, and the Kabbalah. So this is an old debate. So the Rebbe wants to bring peace. And he makes a point out. He says, even according to the Rambam, where he says that the natural order will not change, that the Mashiach is only to bring peace, but not change nature. He says, even according to the Rambam must concede that this is only in the beginning of the coming of the Mashiach era. When Mashiach comes, the natural order will not change according to the Rambam, but eventually there has to be a change in the natural order. Why? Because the Rambam himself writes that one of the principles of our faith is that the dead will arise. Tchias HaMesim. Now, that the dead will arise is not something natural. It's not natural. So you have to say, even according to the Rambam, that is only to a certain degree he can push his opinion that, well, the lamb is going to live with a peace. Why does the Rambam want to explain it in a more natural way? Because the Rambam, he writes in one of his letters that the reason he likes to see things more in the natural way, in the logical way, and the way he sees it, Hashem wants to preserve nature as much as possible. So therefore, he says, why do we have to interpret that the nature of the wolf will change? But the Rebbe points out, listen, the Rambam himself writes that one of the principles of our faith, it's one of the foundations of Yiddishkeit, is to believe that the dead will rise, and that certainly is not natural. Even though someone says to me, he says, today they can build with one cell. They find one cell, and they can make a whole living creature, but just by finding one cell through cloning and all this shmeises. And they say, so therefore, if they find a cell of an ancient dinosaur, theoretically they can turn this cell into a dinosaur. I mean, there's this whole movie Jurassic Park, I think. But there is something to it, because the Gemara says that after a person dies, there's a bone that stays forever. There's a bone that stays forever. And from that bone is built the body that is going to rise when Mashiach comes and the Tchias HaMesim period comes. So he says, it's not so far-fetched scientifically today. If you can find that, what's left of that bone. So he's saying that, science could already start explaining this idea that from that little bone the cell will grow and multiply and become a whole new human body. But bottom line is, this is not the natural order. So the Rebbe is saying, you have to say that according to the Rambam, that what he is saying that there will be a natural order is only in the early period. But afterwards, for sure, the nature of the world will change. And that's what he's concluding over here. That point number 3 is that the natural order of the world will change. Human nature will change, animal nature will change, the physical nature of the world will change. And it continues in this point, this which Shmuel said, that the difference between the times of Mashiach and before is peace amongst the nations, that the nations will not oppress the Jewish people. It's only the beginning of the days of Mashiach. But afterwards, of course, there'll be a change in nature. And then the Rebbe points out something very interesting, that the Kabbalah says, the Rai Mehemna, it's a section of the Zohar, he says, there's levels of the Mashiach experience for different souls. And he brings from the Zohar that it depends who you are. The ignorant, to them Mashiach will be just the lack of oppression, Shibud Malchus, peace, the Goyim won't oppress us. But to the Torah scholars, Mashiach is going to be a higher experience, a miraculous experience. The Zohar says, this idea that Mashiach's coming is just going to bring peace, that is for the ignorant people. But for the Torah scholars and the people who are immersed in Torah, it's a different type of experience. So certainly, according to the Zohar, not all of Mashiach experience is equal. So the Rebbe laid out, as I said before, 3 points of Mashiach's coming. The freedom of oppression, 1. 2, the perfection of humanity's understanding and grasp, where man is going to be on his highest level. And number 3, change of the nature of the world. Now this idea of this change of the nature of the world is really a reflection of Hashem's revealing Himself. Hashem's level of Hashem, the supernatural level of Hashem, how He's above nature, will be revealed. And that's why the nature of the world will change. Because the reason there is nature and a natural order, and the reason we don't have this awareness of Hashem, because Hashem is here now as well, but He is hidden. This idea that Hashem is hidden is also reflected in our prayers and our reading the Chumash and the reading Torah. The name of Hashem that it's written in the Siddur and in the Chumash, the way it's written is Yud Kei Vav Kei, the 4-letter name, and it's written in Yud and then a Hey and then a Vav and then a Hey. We never pronounce that. Why don't we pronounce it? We don't pronounce it because that name of Hashem, the name which is called the name Havaya, is too high and too holy to pronounce it. And this is also reflected that it's hidden in nature. The Shem Havaya is the name of Hashem that is higher than nature. The Shem Adonai, which we pronounce, means the master of the world, how he's connected to the world. But the Shem Havaya, just like we don't pronounce it, because pronouncing it means expressing it and saying it. So it's too holy for us saying it, so it's too holy for it being to reveal in the world. But when Mashiach comes, we will pronounce the name Shem Havaya. When we daven, we will say the name Havaya. What does this reflect? By us saying the name Havaya, it's because we're going to be on a holy level. The world's going to be on a holier level. And Hashem is going to be expressing in this world a holier level. The name Havaya has Yud, then a Hey, and a Vav. Really, what does that word mean? The original spelling of the Shem Havaya, what does that word mean? So really the Mefarshim and the Kabbalah explains this Yud Kei Vav Kei name that we don't pronounce and Kabbalah is called the Shem Havaya because that's not the way to pronounce it. The word hoive means present. Something that's present, that exists. We can't say anything about Hashem because there's beyond description. All we say is He exists. He's present. What does He look like? What color He has? What features He has? So it's a principle of our faith that He has no dimension, no description, no form, no shape. He transcends form, shape, color, hot, cold. He transcends all that. So what could we say? That He exists. Hoive. He exists. Not only does He exist, is He present, but in the world, there's a past, there's present, there's future. Everything has its time. The heart ticks, tick, tick, the clock ticks. Sunrise, sunset ticks. Every day changes. There's time. And what happened in the past is gone. And the future is not here. It's only the present. Hashem is above time. That's why Hashem sees the future, because He's already in the future. And He sees the past, because the past never passed for Him. We are in a limited level of time, so the past is gone, the future is now, the present is now, and the future will be. And this is a whole debate in the philosophy: what is time, what is the past and the future, and can someone see the future, what does it mean, the future? But how we believe that Hashem is above time. The name Havaya in Hebrew carries in it the word for present in the present tense. Haya hovevei has Haya, He was, because the word Havaya has in it Haya, He was. He was present in the past. Haya, Hey Yud Hey. Hoive, Hey Vav Hey is in the Shem Havaya. He's present now. Yeh, He will be present. The only thing that was present, is present, and will be present is Hashem. And all we can say about Him is just He's present, but where, what, and where, and how. So that's the Shem Havaya. That level of godliness that is beyond time and beyond space and everlasting, that is not revealed today because we're stuck in this time-space framework. But it will be revealed when Mashiach comes. So, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, in the Beis Hamikdash they had that, and what was in the Beis Hamikdash, they experienced godliness. This will be all over the world because the world will change. And then he continues another paragraph. And he says that this will not only be in this world, in the physical world, but this will be also a change in all of the spiritual worlds. The Kabbalah tells us that this world is just the lowest world. But there are spiritual worlds where the angels exist, higher beings exist. And there's a whole Seder Ishtalshlus, a whole order and hierarchy of spiritual dimensions and creatures and angels and so on. And that's where the neshama comes from, where the neshama was originally created, and where the neshama goes after the passing. So all of that has its order. When there's going to be a change through Mashiach in the physical world, this will also affect the higher worlds. Because really, where is Hashem focused? Not in the higher worlds. Hashem's focus is in this physical world. The Torah was given in this physical world. The Yom Tovim, he's going to say, how did they fix the holidays? It was a schedule that was made by Yidden in the Beis Hamikdash. Our calendars, because the Sanhedrin used to fix the calendar in ancient times, and they fixed the calendar till the end of time, until Mashiach. So when did the angels say the holiday prayers? They look down what's going on in the Jewish calendar. So therefore, the impact of the coming of Mashiach is not only in this world, but also in the higher worlds. The Teichen Yonim Eilu Yischadesh Lo Yirak Bo'el Mazel B'chol Oilemis. And he continues explaining that this change that is going to be in the nature of this world is going to reflect what's going on in the higher worlds. Then here's the clincher. All of this awesome change that is going to happen in this world and the higher worlds, and the human perfection and experience, and the freedom that we're going to have, all of that is not the essence of Mashiach. The next chapter is going to explain what's the essence of Mashiach. The essence of Mashiach is that we will come to grasp the essence of our neshama, Yechida, which she's going to explain is Yechida, which is the essence of the neshama, and the essence of the world, which is the essence of Hashem. What will be revealed is the essence of everything. The essence is the spiritual, like, for example, what is the essence of this piece of paper? There are molecules, and after the molecules there's the atom. And what's in the atom? Energy, right? There's the neutrons, the protons, there's the energy. That's the essence. The essence is this energy. And that's in the physical world, because the atom is in the physical world. What is the essence of all the worlds? Is the essence of Hashem. That's the B'chinas Yechida. The inner nucleus of the spiritual atom of existence is the essence of Hashem, of that Ein Sof. The essence, the Yechida is that, so that godliness that's in us. That's Yechida. That's the core of the neshama, which is connected to the godliness of Hashem. And the core of the existence of the world, what is that godly energy that's in the world, will be revealed. So therefore, Mashiach is going to really reflect what's the essence of everything. And the essence of everything is going to be revealed. And that is going to be reflected, in making all of this change happen. So to say all of this change are ramifications of the essential point of Mashiach's coming, that Yechida will be revealed, the essence of everything will be revealed. So therefore, automatically, if the essence of the world be revealed, so that's only goodness and holiness, and therefore there won't be oppression. And therefore man is going to be on his highest level, because man's essence today is already on that high level, but we're not. That is not revealed, and the essence of nature will change, because nature is boxed into a natural order, is a limited way of the existence. But when the Shem Havaya and the essence of Hashem will be revealed, so then everything will be changed. And what is the practical application of all of this? That we have. This is the passion that Rebbe said. Our actions bring Mashiach. We're all talking about all this Mashiach. And this is, people are looking for guidance. The world looks like it's going crazy. There's ugliness in the world, there's cruelty in the world, there's darkness in the world. And here, from the earliest prophecies, in the Chumash, in the Torah itself, there's a vision that after all this oppression and ugliness will disappear, and there's going to be an era of peace, and a vision of godliness, Deus Hashem. And like we're learning now in the Chasidus and Kabbalah, this is like an awesome type of experience, an otherworldly experience. The essence of everything will be revealed. The nuclear energy, the spiritual nuclear core of everything will be revealed. When we're talking about atomic energy is endless power. In the physical form, as much as physical could be endless, then you can imagine what we're talking about. The godly, so to say, atom. It's an Ein Sof type of power that is in the Yechida of the Neshama, and the Yechida of Hashem, and the Yechida of the world, and it's up to us to make this happen, because we have it. It's in the world now. It's just waiting to be exposed, and that depends on our mitzvahs. And the Rebbe said, this is the bottom line: we have to bring Mashiach, not just wait for Mashiach. This was a revolution. We have to bring Mashiach, not wait passively for Mashiach. How do we bring Mashiach? We do more mitzvahs, we do more Torah, we inspire others, our neighbors, our friends, our children, our grandchildren, that they should do mitzvahs, and then Mashiach will come. Good night.